So guys, I recently did made like about $974 on my PropFem account. I believe most of us know about my PropFem that I've been actually trading for like over 2 weeks. I got $100,000 account from funding tips, and it hasn't been easy though. I came to a place where I know that I can actually just flex, appreciate myself for how far I've actually gone, and actually spend on myself. So guys, I'm actually in a place where I know my money can actually afford to actually spoil myself, because like I said, today is a very, very big day. I actually plan on playing PS4, but I know this guy is going to actually beat me in that game. So I'm actually going for what I can actually play, and that's a snooker. Right? A snooker where I know I'm going to beat my guy in this place. My guy. So yeah. Make sure this guy is really bored, and I need to rub this on my hand. Right back to this. I need my phone, man. I'll show you guys what's up. Just finished playing the game right now. I actually beat this guy.
You got lucky,
Like,
man.
I didn't get lucky, bro. I beat the hell out of you, man. So I beat him. So we're heading to our next location, which I don't know yet, but let's see first. Let's see. Come on, me, guys. Come on.
Yeah. What if God didn't? What if I had never been blessed beyond limits? What if I was always depressed and not living? What if Squatter Campus Khalid was unwritten, and all I ever had to reflect was Bob Dylan? Josiah just decided to rest and not finish.
So guys, I'm in my next location, right? It's not actually a huge place, but quite fancy, right? So I actually did plan on making some kind of video in the pool, right? I actually don't even know if I can swim, because the last time I actually entered inside the pool was literally last year, I think, ending or mid last year. But yeah, I actually have my goggles, so I'm a bit of a pro. Well, let's find out. Let's find out.
I stand steady on business and everything that I've done. I can't imagine my diva not being a prodigal son. I left Gomani with vision and now I'm back as a young. What if? Mama, into yakuthi where would I be now? Ngaphandle kwakho wemntaka mama, into yakuthi where would I be now? What if I was young and DJ and not chief? What if I was never prepared to love me? What if I was thinking of death and not peace? Cold heart living with fear and can't breathe. What if I didn't move with the north side. If I had a problem being cool with a horse ride, I couldn't do what we all like. If I never knew
So guys, I just finished entering the pool. Yeah, I won't lie, it's quite nice. But what do you guys think? Can I actually swim? Because I don't really know. That's why I was like, maybe I'm good at it and maybe I'm not. So it's people that is going to tell me if I'm good or if I'm not. So yeah, just finished. That was the pool I just finished swimming right now. So let me know in the comment section what you think about my skills. I'm sure you saw the way I did swim. So I want to know from you what you think about. Here's an advice I want to give upcoming traders out there. Alright. So when you're in your up times, like when you're up, when you're in profit, find a way to support yourself. When you're also in loss, so find a way to also support yourself, right? Doing that ensures that you have you're exercising your brain, or should I say you're keeping a good mindset to prepare you for a brand new trading day, right? So as you can see, this is exactly what I do every single day. When I get to make profits, what I do is find a place to just relax, chill, log, and so on and so forth. Same thing when I make losses. I find a place to literally just relax, resting my mind physically. I'm actually going to tell you guys how I literally made this $900 and something on my trading account. Welcome back, champs. So I'm going to literally be doing more of a trade breakdown of a trade I actually did take. I remember earlier on I did mention that I made over $900 and something in a trade that I actually took. So in this segment, I'm going to actually tell you how I actually did this. And guess what? This particular trade was sent freely to my Telegram group. If you're not in my Telegram group, trust me, you're very, very wrong. Just try as much as possible to just tap on the link on my bio in order to join that group chat. Like I said, if you're not there, you're wrong, because I drop signals there every day. All right, let's just say 2 or 3 times in a week I can drop signals there, because I'm the kind of trader that don't really trade that much. I only trade when I see a good opportunity. You understand? So yeah, this is actually the trade. As you can see, this is actually the trade I actually took that gave me over, I think this is it here. This actually is a trade I took that gave me over 1:5. But let's quickly head on to how I was able to actually identify this trade setup. All right, let's find out. So before we do anything, the first thing first, that's the first thing as a trader that you need to do is to understand what exactly is happening in the market. You understand? Just like I do normally say in my videos, you can't just go into an investment or go into investing in something without having proper knowledge of how these things actually work. You understand? So in this case, I'm trying to implement that idea in terms of trading. So I want to understand what really is happening in the market before I can invest in this particular asset, right? In this case, this is a commodity, which is what's gold, right? So let's do a top-down analysis. Let's understand what exactly is happening in the market. So on the daily time frame, we can literally see that on the daily time frame, I think this is loading. So yeah, on the daily time frame, we can literally see that market has been very, very bullish since the beginning of, I think this is since the ending of February. We've been seeing some kind of bullish movement, right? The bullish movement started from February, continued March to this very day. All right, this particular push that we saw prices pushing to the upside is something I actually did anticipated, right? Because I know I made money from here. As you can see, there's a long position to there, so I made money from there. I was expecting a buy. Because if you're not expecting a buy on gold, then trust me, I don't think you can trade, because it's very, very visible. All right, so but in this case, we had a buy above this area of resistance, which has literally turned into
a support zone. Why? Because obviously when market breaks out from resistance, it turns into what? Support. So this is now the area of support where prices are likely to come to in order to push us back to the upside, right? So in this case, the information we're getting from here is the fact that market is very, very bullish, and obviously we always want to follow the trend. They always say that the trend is your friend until it bends, right? I'm sure most of you guys that are following FXT mindset may have seen that quote where it did say that the trend is your friend until it bends. So it's not your friend anymore when it bends, but it's always advisable for you as a trader to follow the trend. Remember, what moves the market is my order and your order. All right, so if I'm going to take a trade that is in the same view of other people's view, I'm likely to be profitable. I don't want to be buying when a million people are selling. I can't be doing that. So this is the importance of following the trend. Understanding the fact that what moves the market is my order and definitely your order. My little $1 can't really push the market to the upside. But if my little $1 is being backed by a million other people's $1, I'm sure that I can see, we're likely to see a difference in price, right? You can see probably a push from a particular point level to another, maybe upward or downward. You understand? But the main info here is to always try to flow with the trend, and that is literally what I did in order to make money from gold. Now I've gotten my information, right? Let's now head on to the 4 hours. So the 4 hours literally is not saying much. Okay, yeah, this is where we entered from, and just like I said, we were bullish, all right? And I did mention that prices, or should I say, market has literally been bullish from the ending of February, right, till this very day. So in this case, we actually did take a trade. This is where we took our trade. Let's see, it's around this region that we took our trade. Okay, yeah, this is where we took our trade. 5.1, right? So we took our trade here. So we saw that prices were literally bullish, and obviously we want to follow the trend, right? So let's now go to 15 minutes, which is our entry time frame. Our time frames are what we just use to understand the trend of the market, what we use to identify interest level zones such as resistance, support, demand, supply, OB, wherever you guys call it, because I'm sure some people call it OB, but I don't call it OB. I call it OB means order block. All right, so I call it demand zones or supply zones. I don't use all those terminologies. There's one secret in Forex, and that's the fact that the lesser you know, the better. So try as much as possible to scrap out information that are not really necessary in your trading plan, right? So don't really consider that as something. But for what people call OB, I call it supply or demand, right? So now that's basically what we find on higher time frame: resistance, support, or demand zones or supply zones. And yeah, so let's head on to the 15 minutes. So 15 minutes is where we had our entry level. So just like we did mention, we said that market has actually been very, very bullish. I'm going to again spot out where we had the buyers coming from, right? So in this case, I can literally see that yeah, it has loaded. So I've literally seen that, okay, yeah, I'm right. So this area was where the buys started. That's where we saw our buying power, right? In Igbo, that's where we saw our Ike, that is our power, right? So it's always important for you to know where buying and selling powers are coming from. So I already knew that a buying power is identified around this region. So you can see this was February 28th, right, 2025. This was literally where I spotted out a buying power, which was likely to break out from the previous external higher high, right? I'm sure you guys know what higher highs are, right? I'm sure you guys know what higher highs are. So I had that feeling, not like I had that feeling, I knew that prices was heading to that area of higher high. So obviously the mindset, or obviously what I'm expected to be doing in that very market is literally what buying. I'm looking forward to buying every positions identified, right? As long as price is trading impulsively to the upside, I want to see markets pushing to the upside, trading in an uptrend, right? Because obviously in this case, we're looking forward to see prices break out from a previous higher high, right? Once the prices break out from a previous higher high, so obviously I'm waiting for prices, or I'm anticipating that move. So while I'm anticipating it, I can't just hold my arms and miss out on some crazy opportunities, but instead look out for trading opportunities. You understand? In order to make money from the market. So there, we actually did find one. So this is where we had a buy. So as you guys can see here, we saw prices doing something like this. This is literally what we saw prices doing. Market made a higher high here, made a higher low here, right? Went to the upside, created a higher high here. It came down here to create a higher low, and boom, prices pushed the upside to create a new higher high. Now this is where we actually did have our entry. Just like I did mention, we're trading impulsively. So I'm not expected to be looking for sell opportunity. We're looking for see prices break up from a previous high. So I'm expected to be looking for buying opportunities. Now in a case where I want to take selling opportunities, I make it very, very minimal. Right? I look for several confirmations before I take that sell, because most of the times they don't really work out. Why? Because the major direction of the move, right, of the market is actually bullish. So anything bearish is seen as a low probability. You understand? So in this case, what do we do here? We literally did spot out that prices literally created a break of structure. Remember, there's a high we're actually targeting, right? The high is quite above. So market literally needs to get there before we can relax and then stop taking a buy operation, or stop looking forward to taking a buy operation, right? So in this case, I already saw a break of structure in this case. And for what I normally tell people is that when we have break of structures, there's always something that causes it. It's just for you to identify what caused it, use it as an interest level zone, and take your entry from there, right? So it could be resistance zone. You can literally spot out resistance zone, right, from a particular price level, and then use it as more of your interest level zone. So in this case, I didn't use resistance zone. I used demand and supply. So when we had a break of structure around this region, I was expected to identify my demand zone, which I call my interest level zone, right? So in this case, I already spotted out this demand zone, but this was literally identified on a higher time frame. So let's go to 30 minutes. Let's see whether it was actually from the 30 minutes that I spotted that demand zone. It doesn't look visible. So this is my demand from this high to this low. This is my demand zone. So obviously I can't really see any demand zone here. So I'm looking out for another time frame, which is probably the 45 minutes. So let's see what 45 minutes is going to show. Probably it's 45 minutes that actually has the demand zone, or it could be the 1 hour time frame, right? But let's see. 45 minutes doesn't say anything. I can't really see the demand zone I spotted out. So let's go to 1 hour. Let's go to 1 hour. So this is literally how I do my things. I glance through every single time frame. Why? Because I know that every single time frame is very, very important when trading. You can't just depend on one time frame and use that one time frame to define a particular move. No. Or you can't just depend on one time frame and use that one time frame to identify resistance. Every individual time frame has a story to tell, right? On the 15 minutes, prices can be seen as bullish. On the 1 minute, you can see prices bearish. So this is to tell you that every single time frame has a story to tell, right? So what I can see here, I can see that it's not the 1 hour that actually did draw this demand zone from. Let's go to 3 hours. Let's go to higher time frames or something like that, because it could be 2 hours though. Okay, let's go to 2 hours. Let's see 2 hours. I'm trying to see where exactly I spotted out this area of demand, because it was from that area of demand that I literally generated an entry. It's not on 2 hours. Let me go to 4 hours. There's a time frame. I know there's one time frame. There's one time frame, right? So let's see. Beautiful. So it's on the 4 hours. So you guys can literally see this area of demand. This area of demand has what it takes to be called a demand, and I'm sure people who trade SMC, you guys are already familiar with this. it has presence of what imbalance, right? You can see imbalance to confirm that, okay, yes, this is a valid demand zone. And where is our imbalance spotted out from? From this low of this bullish candlestick to this high. You're going to see that there's some kind of gap in that area. Market is always likely to come into that area or come back into that area to fill some kind of orders that are actually resting around that region, right? So in this case, this is our gap. So I can see from this low to this high, there's a gap found there, right? There's a gap found there. And let me see how many pips gap. So this is from here to here. This is like about, let's say 8 pips or 10 pips. Let's say 10 pips, right? Let's say 10 pips. Or okay, let's say that's 100 pips. But I don't know if you guys can actually see the gap I'm actually showing you guys. But yeah, there's a gap around here, right? My tool is not bringing out the pips. I don't know why. So there's a gap around here to tell me that there's what imbalance. So like I said, market is always going to come back into that gap in order to fill a particular order, right? Because there are orders resting around that region. So in this case, I literally spotted out that, okay, there's a gap, this is a demand, and now is now for me to take my entry. Now heading back to the 15 minutes, you guys are going to see what I did here. Now there's something called confluence trading. Just like I did mention, what moves the market is my order and what you order, right? My small $1,000 can't really push the market. It can't. My small $1,000, if even though it's 1,000, it can't. But if my 1,000 is backed by a million other people 1,000, then it's literally able to what push the price, the market. So in this case, I saw something. I saw people who trade the breakout. Now you guys know about the breakout strategy, which is when people see a breakout from a resistance zone or a support zone, they want to enter when prices comes back into that resistance zone or support zone, right? So in this case, I can literally see that, okay, this is a nice area of support which turned into resistance zone, right? So we got a nice area of support here. Prices broke out from it. It turned into a resistance zone, right? As prices broke out from it, it turned into a support. When prices came to the downside, breaking out from this area of support zone, right? From this area of support zone, it turned into resistance here. But when prices went back into that area, invalidated it, pushed the upside to break out from it, from that region, breaking out from this previous high, we got to understand that this area is now seen as a support zone yet again. Now what people want to do is they want to take entries from those area of support and resistance. So in this case, I have two confluences here. I have two or more people accepting to the fact that prices is going to push out from a particular price level. I'm sure you guys have already seen, but it's simple. The two people that are here that we can literally see and basically see are people who trade demand and supply or order block, right? And then people who trade support and resistance, right? So in this case, we can see this is where we had that intercept. We had that midpoint where both resistance and support zone trader and demand and supply zone traders met. So it's just complex trading, right? It's very, very easy. This is one of the easiest strategies you can ever use in any pair. I won't lie to you because I literally use confluences, and that is one of the reasons why I don't look for confirmations on confluence levels. My confirmation is already found on those confluence levels, right? My confirmation is that I've gotten two or more people accepting to the fact that prices or market is going to push out from a particular price level, right? So in this case, I can literally see that, okay, we have both the demand zone and what we have resistance and support zones trader resting it at a particular price level. This price level is seen at what? This is $2,933, right? That was the current price of the market, and that was an area where both demand and support traders were looking out for. Now, if you guys can see, there was something very important that happened after prices went to that, after market went to that price, and that's the fact that immediately prices entered into that zone, we saw a very, very strong impulsive move. Why? Confluence. What moves the market is my order and the order. So you can literally see that this proves it. So when people or two or more people came to an agreement that price was going to push the upside, obviously it's definitely going to push. You can quote me anywhere though. Try it. Just try making use of a complex trading strategy. It could be anything. It could be maybe using resistance. You could be using trend line and resistance as a combination for a confluence, or something else. Just maybe you try your personal strategy. Try and then see if it confluences with another person's strategy, and then see what's up. You're going to see that it works very well. Right? There are people who just only trade this. They don't see, even though they see a good area of demand zone or support zone, they don't take a trade. But it's that they see a good area of demand zone or support zone that is backed by other people that has some kind of confluence, right? They are definitely going to take that trade, and they are very well profitable. This is the type of trade I literally look out for when trading. So as you can see, I had my entry at that level where both demand and resistance zone intersected. That's where they met, right? Where they met. So I had my entry around that level, and what happened thereafter was that we saw a very beautiful push to the upside. Now there's something I actually did, which was one of my risk management strategy, and that is introducing the trailing stop loss. I'm sure most of us are familiar with what trailing stop loss is. That is whereby you're adjusting your stop loss in order to at least in order to get some certain part of the money, just in case prices go sideways and market goes sideways, right? So for example, I took an entry here, my stop loss was here, but as prices was pushing impulsively to the upside, I was adjusting my stop loss, right? I adjusted my stop loss here. When it was still pushing to the upside, I adjusted it around this area, right? But what happened thereafter? This is where I had my stop loss. What happened thereafter? I could have held, but I didn't want to see myself being break-even on this trade. So it's not like I was scared, no, but I was being conservative. I think that's the word. I was being conservative because I know that so far so good. I haven't really seen a very nice opportunity, and I can't literally just let a good opportunity just slip my hand. It's going to pain the hell out of me. That's the truth, right? So I tried to avoid that. There was no regret, right? There was no regret. So I took some profits around this region. Took some profit. This is where I had my trailing stop loss. So when prices went up, came to the downside, tapped on my stop loss, I was able to make like about 900, I think 900 or something dollars or so. And I think this is where I usually closed my trade. But my initial TP2, right, was literally found around this price level, which at the end of the day, as prices just came, tapped on my stop loss, which was in profit. Not all stop loss is going to be in loss. All right, because I'm sure when people hear stop loss, they think that oh, you made a loss. No, not really. Is if we did introduce a trailing stop method, then we cannot define that as a loss. That is still a profit. And the only thing is that your profit is not as huge as what you could have actually gained if prices hit your initial take profit. All right. So in this case, I literally got stopped out, making over 900 and something dollars here. My estimated profit was like about 1,900 and something dollars, which was like about $2,000. But I just let it go. All right, I let it go because I know that there's always going to be a good opportunity in the market. So there's no need of you trying to stress yourself on just one trade. Nah, it's very unnecessary. Try as much as possible to relax your mind, having this understanding that there's a million trade that is still yet to appear. Getting to understand that if you're going to die today, the chart is still going to be printing. Market is still going to be making its pattern with or without you. So what is the essence of you trying to ensure that you make something by force in a particular day? That is very unnecessary, right? It's just an advice. If it's that you're going to take a trade, have this mindset that there's still a million other trades that you can actually trade, you can actually pick, right? If you're going to miss a trade today, be calm. There's a million other trades that you're going to likely trade, which is going to be profitable, or which is likely to be profitable. Also, if you're going to take a loss today, be calm. There's always going to be a trade, or there are a million other trades out there that you can actually take and it's going to what, put you back in profit, right? So this is how I literally did make this. You can see the risk reward on this trade was over 105.16. all right, the pips in total, that's the estimated pips. Let me just say my expected pips was over 164 pips, but I ended up taking how many? I ended up taking 62 pips or 69 pips off the table, right? I ended up taking 69 pips off the table. Zero regrets. Onto another day, right? Onto another. That's a mindset. No time to think about what you could have done or what you could have made. But look forward to another day, right? And that is what literally I'm looking out for. I know that I can literally make more than this. In a day, I reached like about 1 million or 1.7 million in a day, right? That's my normal risk in a day. That's someone's salary. I reached with that in a day. So, and I know that if I'm going to get returns, I'm getting like about 3 million to about 20 million. That's how crazy FX strategy is, by the way, right? That's FX strategy. That's how crazy it is. So I know I can make like about 3 million to 20 million in just one trade. So why am I stressing myself? So I was very, very contented with what I had, zero regrets, and until the next trade. So guys, if you love this video, try as much as possible to subscribe, share to your friends, because I know that there are lots of people that will be wanting to look out for how we get to trade, how FX traders normally take trade in the market, right? So share this trade to them, share it to your loved ones. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and also don't forget to comment the necessary things I did tell you guys to comment about. And that was number one, my swimming my swimming skills, right? I need you guys to comment on that. Let me know what's up, right? So see you guys another time.